Let's be clear. A fed-up empath is the most dangerous person you will ever meet. That sounds wrong, doesn't it? How could the gentle, compassionate soul become dangerous? But mark my words. When an empath reaches their breaking point, they transform into something fierce, something no one saw coming. You feel it, don't you? That simmering tension behind your polite smile. That tremor in your chest every time someone takes advantage of your kindness. You're the one who always understands, always forgives. But deep inside, a voice is asking, how much more can I take before I shatter? If you've ever given everything to someone who only took more, if you've ever stayed silent to keep the peace while you were dying inside, if you've been praised for your empathy even as it drained you, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. This message is for you. Picture this, a kind-hearted soul in a world full of predators. The empath walks among wolves, believing that kindness will shield them. But the wolves scent your kindness the way they scent wounded prey. They circle, they take and take, while you smile and give, hoping your goodness will change them. It won't. You've been taught that being good is enough, that if you love people harder, they'll eventually love you back. It's a lie. In truth, some people see your compassion as weakness, an easy target who will tolerate their abuse and never fight back. Harsh? Yes. True? You know it is, because you've lived it. Every time you tried to be the bigger person, you ended up feeling smaller and smaller. Every time you turned the other cheek, someone was waiting to slap it. The world hasn't been kind to your kindness. So there you are, carrying wounds on your heart while still smiling, still giving. You think if you just endure a little more pain, you'll finally earn peace. But inside, the hurt is collecting, pooling like water behind a dam. One day, that dam will break. And when it does, God help anyone in its path. The breaking point often comes without warning. Maybe it's a betrayal too far, a lover who cheats one last time, or a family member who only calls to dump their problems on you. One day something snaps, the shock hits you. I can't do this anymore. In that moment of shock, you feel a strange, calm clarity cutting through your chest. It's the moment you realize that all your self-sacrifice has been taken for granted. The veil lifts. You see the truth. They never respected your kindness. They only expected it. And you're done being expected to bleed for others. The realization hits like a bolt of lightning. You were never the problem. You were not too sensitive or too giving. They were too cruel to appreciate a gentle heart. For the first time, you stop blaming yourself. The shock isn't just that they used you, it's that you let them. That ends now. What comes after that lightning strike of truth? Pain. Deep, howling pain. Because once the denial cracks, you're left staring at years of betrayal and abuse you tried to ignore. You feel rage mixing with grief. Grief for the time lost. Rage for the injustice. It's a firestorm in your soul. This is the dark night of the soul for an empath. The part where you realize just how badly you've been hurt. All the times you said it's okay when it wasn't. All the boundaries you never set. All the pieces of yourself you handed to people who didn't deserve them. It all comes crashing down on you now. You might feel anger at yourself too. Anger for being so naive, for being so desperate to please. How could you let them treat you like that? How could you bend over backwards for people who wouldn't lift a finger for you? These questions stab at you, each one twisting the knife of self-blame. But listen carefully. That anger you feel, it's not a sin. It's not unspiritual or wrong. It is natural, and it is necessary. That anger is the part of you that finally decided your suffering matters. It's the roar of your long-silenced self-respect. Anger, in this moment, is an alarm bell waking you up. For years, You swallowed your pain to keep others comfortable. You smiled through the insults, forgave the betrayals, made excuses for their cruel behavior. Each time, you buried your truth a little deeper, convinced that if you gave more love, you'd fix everything. All you did was teach them that you didn't matter. That realization cuts deep. It hurts like hell, doesn't it? To see that you abandoned yourself trying not to abandon them. It's a bitter pill, but you're swallowing it now, and it burns. There's another pain lurking underneath, the wounded inner child. The little you who learned long ago that love meant giving until it hurts. Perhaps in childhood, you felt you had to earn affection by being good, quiet, or useful. That child inside you is furious and heartbroken, finally screaming, "When is it my turn to be cared for?" You've carried that wounded child inside all your life, without even realizing it. Every time you were drawn to someone broken or toxic, hoping you could heal them, it was that child seeking validation. You wanted to save them, so someone would finally see and save you. But they didn't. And now that child's pain has erupted in full force. This is the moment of shadow confrontation. The part of you that you kept hidden, the anger, the resentment, the desire to say, "No, I won't take this anymore." It's terrifying and liberating. You are face to face with your own darkness, and you realize it was never your enemy. For so long, you tried to be only light, kind, understanding, endlessly patient. But a person without their darkness is incomplete. That darkness holds your strength. The part of you that can fiercely protect yourself has been locked away, labeled mean or selfish by those who benefited from your weakness. Not anymore. You stand at the crossroads of who you were and who you're becoming. The pain is almost unbearable, but it's also fuel. You can either fall back into old patterns or let that pain push you forward into a new self. And in this crucible of suffering, you choose transformation. Let me tell you a secret. I speak all of this because I've lived it. I know that breaking point because I've broken too. I've felt that blaze of righteous anger scorch away my fear. I've felt the snap when you finally say, "Enough," and how the pieces of your old life crumble to dust. There is power in that rubble. When you reach that breaking point, something unexpected happens. After the tears, after the rage and the nights of raw pain, a quiet resolve begins to rise. It's like standing in the ashes of who you used to be and realizing you survived the fire. You're still here. Better yet, you're freer than you've ever been. The people who pushed you to this point wanted you weak and compliant. They expected your collapse to break you. Instead, it forged you. The emptiness inside you has been cleared of illusions, and now you see everything with stark clarity. The truth is better than their comforting lies. You realize that you don't need their approval or their permission to live. The chains of codependency, of needing to be needed, start to fall away. You stand up from the wreckage of that toxic dynamic, and you walk away without the weight of their expectations on your back. Can you feel that freedom in your bones? This is not the end of your empathy. It's the beginning of a wiser empathy. You will always care deeply. That's your nature. But now you turn some of that compassion toward yourself. You understand that true empathy doesn't mean accepting abuse. It means recognizing that you deserve kindness too. When you run out of tears to cry for others, you start crying for yourself. Those tears wash away the guilt that kept you chained. You stop feeling guilty for saying no. You stop feeling responsible for fixing everyone's problems. You finally see that it was never your job to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Boundaries. For the first time, that word isn't just an idea, it's a lifeline. You start telling people no and realize the world doesn't end. In fact, your world begins. Every time you refuse to be mistreated, You reclaim a piece of yourself that was lost. Those pieces start to come together into a person who is whole and strong. Individuation. Becoming your own person separate from the expectations and traumas of your past. This is what you're doing now. You're no longer just an extension of someone else's will or a supporting character in other people's lives. You are the main character of your own life, and you will never again let anyone else write your story. There's no coming to consciousness without pain. You see that now. You had to hurt to wake up. The pain burned away the delusions that kept you docile. This is not rage. This is rebirth. The you that emerges from this fire is awake, aware, and utterly unwilling to ever go back to sleep. Now your anger transforms into something pure. Clarity. The fog of confusion and self-doubt evaporates. You see every manipulation for what it was. Every lie they told, you now call out. Every time they try to guilt trip or gaslight you, it falls flat against the armor of your self-knowledge. They can't control you anymore, and it scares them. Emotional manipulation loses its power when the truth awakens. Their power was always in your blind spot, the lies you believed, the guilt you accepted. Now you shine a light on it, and the shadows vanish. How can they deceive you when you've learned to trust your own reality over their words? Some will say you've become cold or selfish since you stopped catering to their whims. That's what abusers and takers always say when their favorite pawn steps off the board. Let them whine. You and I both know the truth. You haven't lost your warmth. You've just learned to direct it where it's deserved. The mirror has reversed now. All your life you absorbed other people's emotions, their pain, their anger, as if it were your own. Now you hold the mirror up to them instead. You reflect the truth of their behavior back at them and make them face themselves. You say, "This is what you are doing. I will not carry it for you anymore." Can you imagine what it does to a narcissist or a user when the person they thought was their doormat suddenly stands tall and shines a light on their lies? It's like a vampire being dragged into the sun. They panic, lash out, or slink away into the shadows because they know they've lost their hold on you. Let's get one thing straight. You didn't turn into a monster. You just stopped tolerating monsters. You're not dangerous because you'll hurt someone. You're dangerous because you won't let anyone hurt you ever again. You radiate a quiet power now that makes the manipulators of the world tremble. They can't figure out why they can't bend you anymore. The empath was never weak. You were just conditioned to think that putting yourself last was a virtue. You were taught to feel guilty for standing up for yourself. Now you see through that lie. Your strength was there all along, dormant under all that self-doubt. The moment you tapped into it, you became formidable. You carry a clarity now that cuts through deception. People who used to manipulate you now find themselves at a loss. Where you once would have apologized just to keep the peace, you now stare them down and ask, "What did you mean by that?" You challenge them to be accountable, and bullies hate accountability. And here's the irony. The very empathy they abused is what gives you the upper hand now. You know them intimately. You understand their weaknesses, their fears, because you spent years feeling their emotions. Now, armed with boundaries and truth, you can predict their moves, see through their sob stories and guilt trips. They have nothing left to hide behind. You break the trauma bond piece by piece. Every time you refuse to engage in their drama, another link in that chain snaps. You realize you are not responsible for their feelings. You never were. You are separate, a whole person, not a satellite orbiting their planet. This is your individuation, reclaiming yourself. This transformation frightens people who benefited from your old self. They will say you've changed, and they're right. You have changed into someone who no longer feeds their ego, no longer cushions their blows, no longer lives to serve their needs. To them, that is dangerous. To you, that is salvation. The beauty is, you don't lose your empathy through all this. You amplify it. Now that it's not being drained by users and energy vampires, you can use it for greater things. You might find yourself helping those who truly deserve help, or creating something beautiful from your pain to share with the world. Your empathy isn't gone. It's finally aimed in the right direction. You've transformed your pain into power. The scar that remains from all those wounds isn't a mark of shame. It's a medal of honor. It means you survived what was meant to break you. More than survived. You learned, you grew. What once made you a victim now makes you dangerous to any would-be victimizer. Why dangerous? Because you can't be controlled the same way anymore. Because you have tasted the kind of freedom that comes from not giving a damn about the approval of those who hurt you. You have seen the worst in people and refused to let it corrupt the best in you. Now you set the terms of your life, and that is terrifying to those who expected to control you. There's a fire in you now, not a wild, destructive fire, but a focused flame that nothing can snuff out. It's the fire of self-respect, the fire of knowing exactly who you are and what you are worth. That fire will burn anyone who tries to smother it, and its light will warm those who treat you right, fierce, but not cruel. That's what you are now. The same empathic heart beats in your chest, but now it's armored. You have an edge that wasn't there before, a backbone made of steel where it used to be jelly. You can still love deeply, but you'll never again let love blind you to the truth. You've become both kind and powerful, and that is a formidable thing. Think of the journey you've taken, from a quiet, accommodating empath who feared anger, to a determined, awakened soul who owns their anger and wields it wisely. This is the hero's journey, a transformation forged in fire. And like any true hero, you emerged with gifts, wisdom, strength, and courage you never knew you had. The world needs hearts like yours, strong and compassionate. But you will no longer lose yourself trying to save others. Instead, you lead by example. You teach others how to treat you by the way you treat yourself now, with dignity and love. You become a beacon, proving that empathy is not weakness when balanced with self-respect. So if you are that fed-up empath, or on the verge of becoming one, know this is your awakening. It might feel like your world is ending when you finally break, but it's just the beginning of a new life. The shock, the pain, the anger, the release. It's all part of you shedding the skin of who you were to become, who you're meant to be. When an empath has had enough, they don't become evil, they become free. Free from manipulation, free from guilt, free from the chains that kept them small. And when you have faced your worst fears and survived, you become the most dangerous person of all, because you have nothing left to be afraid of, and nothing left to lose except the limits others tried to put on you.